Hey there, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in your current location. I wanted to do a highlight video of a panel that I had the honor to be on last night. Um, the channel holder, his name is Madness, and his channel name is Stop the Madness Crime News. And so we had a pretty good lengthy discussion about the Cash Gernon case, and I'm going to play that for you. This is just our interaction, and I want to thank him for the opportunity to come up on his panel, and I hope he'll one day come and join mine as well. But I'm going to go ahead and let this play for you guys, and I will see you guys on the next live.
We have LeakYou.
Yes. Hi. Stop the madness. How are you?
Madness. I'm doing good. How you doing this morning?
I'm
This
just
morning.
this evening. Hey, it's morning somewhere.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm not having a lag. It looks like I'm lagging to
Um.
me, but hopefully, I'm not lagging to you.
Yeah. On me, you ain't lagging at all over here.
Sweet. Okay. Hey, I wanted to say thank you for all the coverage that you've been giving to this case. And Molly Golightly as well. I've been watching her coverage on this case as well. And it's, I've been doing crimes and justice and true crime blogging for a really long time. And this is by far, it's up there in the top 10 of absolute shocking cases. And
Right.
I have a question for you. And I don't know if you have talked about this with your audience, but do you feel that Trevor, the father of Cash, should be able to go to his son's funeral?
Yes, I do. Yes, although I do feel like, um, a big part of the reason what happened to Baby Cash is because he left those babies with a meth head. I do
Yeah,
feel like any father should be able to go to their kid's funeral. Like I said, wouldn't nobody be able to keep me from going to
right.
my kid's funeral? I don't care who don't like it, whatever happened, I'm going. And that's just hypothetically speaking. I always got to knock on wood because my children are gonna bury me. I don't never want to bury my
Right.
children. But yeah, I do think he should be able to go.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's good to kind of hear the thoughts of other crimes and justice bloggers. I kind of looked at you. I see you're also a crimes and justice blogger, although new to me in the last week through this case. But I'm already subscribed and I've been watching you.
All right, make sure I
These
subscribe
past
back to you. What's your page name?
Leak You,
Leak you. Okay.
and Crimes and Investigations. That's the page where I do all my crime cases and all that fun stuff. So you'll see, I have three main ones. If you go to leakyou.com, you'll see them in the channel's description.
Mm-hmm. LeakYou.com.
So yeah, and if you just click that, go to channels, and you'll see there's three, and each of them have a purpose. But I do some crimes and justice on leakyou.com as well. But right now, I've been focusing on my crimes and investigations channel.
Okay.
So, but
Is
I
this it right
definitely,
here? Is that it? Or is that somebody else?
yep, that's me. Yeah,
Okay.
that's me. Yeah,
All right, go
yep.
ahead and subscribe to that right now.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll subscribe to you. I love running into crimes and justice bloggers, and I'm seeing more and more of it. And it's really, really good. And the coverage on this case, as far as what I've seen, you doing is fantastic.
Thank you.
I don't know if you're in the Texas area, but
Oh
this is
no.
definitely huh?
I said no, I'm nowhere near Texas.
Okay. Well, this is definitely going to be a capital case. No question about that. And a capital case is going to be either life or death. That's how is down here. I'm in Dallas. I'm not too
So he
far.
gonna get the death penalty then if he's found.
That is a huge possibility, because what it's really going to come down to is how heinous the crime is. The fact that he seemed to have been almost, up to 10 weeks prior to this happening, he was caught on surveillance, stalking the area, looking through the gate of Monica Sherrod's backyard, trying to open cars, just on the prowl, just doing really weird things. And I understand that people have mental health conditions. I understand that. But when you look at the video of him taking Cash out of that bed, it's almost as if he is wrestling within himself. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? And at the end of the day, especially when he comes back, you can tell that the way he reacts to seeing the other brother still kind of awake, you could tell that he knew what he was doing was wrong. And that is what it really comes down to is, do you know the difference between right or wrong? Yeah. Many people can have mental conditions and still know the difference between what's right and what's wrong. I find it amazing that Monica Sherrod slept and continued to sleep, and a report wasn't even made until 11 o'clock that morning. And to hear the rumors of her opening GoFundMes, I don't know, these are all allegations, of course,
right,
is absolutely despicable. And I said in my video, she needs to fall all the way back. She needs to fall all the way back. Those were not her children. It is not appropriate. And, I feel like the Daily Mail also paid her for that interview. That's typically what the Daily Mail does.
Right.
To get those sorts of images and to be able to video that room, that dump of a room, may I add.
Yeah, it was something straight off of Hoarders.
It was, right? We're talking dirt everywhere on the walls. We're talking why are two kids sleeping on a toddler bed anyway? Generally, there'd be one per person.
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of care put into that. And yeah, Trevor definitely made some huge mistakes leaving his children there. I don't know what the backstory is between him and Melinda, but
my thing is he had to have known that, because it's a lot of things where he's saying like, well, this is new to me. Like, I didn't know like she had kids taken away or etc. or all that. I'm like, you had to have known that she was on meth. She's too far gone off meth for you not to know. Like, she's not a new meth head.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not a meth head himself and he was doing meth with her. Honestly, you could see the sore on her nose when she did the Daily Mail interview, and you could hear like the horsiness, in her voice when she was talking. And it was so clear. You could see the state of the house too. Did you see when Cameron, the son, was doing the interviews,
smiling
in the front,
smiling and shit? Yeah.
And the blinds were all like broken off, and I don't even know how she affords a 6-bedroom home in Dallas, but I've heard it's a family home or something, like it's in her family or belongs to her parents, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But this is probably up there with the Malia Davis case. If not, I'm not saying Malia Davis was any less important than Cash. I'm just saying that the level of people talking about this and the level of how this has went around the world, this case, to think that someone could walk into a child's room while they're sleeping and literally just take them out of their bed. It's unbelievable.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
I ask everybody this question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that Darriynn Brown had help, or do you believe he just did this on his own?
I believe Darriynn did this on his own. Okay. I do. I don't believe he had any help, because when you really think about that, to have help, what he's already doing is so sinister and so dark. You have to be a dark soul to take a child, to kill that child with a knife. And my understanding is that his shorts were on him when his body was found. So I believe the forensics they're waiting back on is whether or not he was sexually assaulted.
I hope and those are the rumors those are the rumors that's going around that they was being molested. I hope that this forensics don't come back and say that
I
not
do
only
too.
was he murdered, he was actually sexually assaulted.
I do
I
too.
don't, yeah.
Because if that's the case, then that's going to take this in a whole different direction. There's a difference between a sexual assault murder versus someone who's completely unstable, who did a random crime and killed a child and left their body in the middle of the street. But I don't think that he had help at all. Honestly, I think that's evident also by the surveillance footage we seen for the last 10 weeks prior, where he's prowling around at night, trying to open people's car doors, peeking through gates. And neighbors reported this to police.
Right.
And, nothing was done because it was considered a low level crime. But yeah, that is
Now
my
look, nothing was
opinion.
done because it was considered a low level crime. Well, now you got a high
Right.
level crime on your hands
There
now.
you go. There you
Congratulations.
go. Exactly.
We
Exactly.
don't never want to stop. We don't never want to stop the problem before it becomes a problem.
Exactly.
We always want to wait until it's a problem. Now let's do something.
Problem.
And now it's too late.
And a problem like none other. Like, this is not something that happens every day. Definitely not in the city of Dallas. I mean, of course, you've got horrible people that kill children, but this here is especially heinous, especially brutal. And I've lived in Texas most of my life, and I know that they are already thinking about the death penalty in this case. They're going to try to find reasons to not try to go for the death penalty in this case.
Yeah.
It's either going to be death or life. He will never be a free man again. I can guarantee you that.
It's definitely going to be life without parole at the least.
At the least.
At the least.
At the least.
That at this point, that's what they should be going for, life without, because the other one, they gonna send you to that chair. They like you just told me, and some people in my chat was telling me on some of my other lives, they still do the death penalty down there in Texas.
Oh, you? Oh my gosh. The death penalty, there's been times 3 people have been executed in a single day down in Huntsville.
Yeah.
Like, even now, if you are given a death sentence, these ages, your appeals for one have been reduced, so you don't have as many appeals, and they're getting executed anywhere from, like, I've seen some happen within 3 years.
Dang, they getting them in that chair quick.
And the scary thing, and that would be a whole nother topic in itself, is they do the lethal injection, but we aren't allowed to know what drugs they're using. And American companies and even European companies stopped selling the drugs that they use for the lethal injections because they consider it inhumane and cruel and inhumane treatment. And but there are some, people always want to make money, and they are literally giving the lethal injection in multiple states. We don't know the formula. They will not tell us. They use the law to hide it.
Wow.
And there's been a lot of incidents that have happened where people were still breathing and really struggling and looked to be in a lot of pain when getting that lethal injection. Not that I think the victims really care about that, but there's still, when we're talking death penalty, there has to be some sort of decorum to that if you're gonna, be a civilized country. We're not.
Do you believe let me ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Do you believe, because we're talking about what's inhumane and as far as the formula, do you believe that a person who has been found guilty of murder, and let's just hypothetically say that he for a fact done this, right? And I'm not talking about Darriynn, I'm just hypothetically speaking. And let's just say he did something heinous, like he stabbed a kid and chopped off his head or something.
Right.
Do you believe that person deserves to be put down, humanely? Or do you believe that, whatever you did to this particular person, and I just like to, when I meet new people like you, LeakYou, I just like to see where people's heads is at.
I'm going to be honest with you. I know someone who was executed by the state of Texas. His name was Reginald Reeves. He killed a woman named Jenny Lynn Weeks. And in my 20s, when I went through that, it was very traumatic, right? Because I knew the killer, I knew her. And I really, really, really believed in the death penalty in my younger days.
Okay.
But as I've gotten older, I don't believe in the death penalty like that. There's been when even one innocent man has the possibility of being executed, all executions should stop.
Okay.
And we have executed innocent people in the state of Texas.
Okay.
And that alone is a reason that I think we should rethink that. I think that the lethal injection being used is, I think it's pretty painful to them. Not that that's not really the big issue,
Right.
but my views just have changed as I've gotten older. I'm 43 now, having, and I just think it's a natural progression, because when you hear all the stories of innocent people being executed, them being, held, found innocent 50 years later, but it's not like they can rejoice in that because they're already dead.
Right.
And
they'd be like, we're gonna take these off your record. Like, okay.
Yeah. And it's like, well, what's that gonna do? Nobody's getting paid. The family's not getting paid for the suffering of losing their family member. And I will never forget sitting at the funeral of Reginald Reeves after he was executed. It is a business. It has become just a straight business. And that also offended me in a way. And I think when I went through a certain health crisis of my own, I just think that my views changed. And I'm telling you, I was a very staunch death, penalty supporter at one point in my life. And I just don't feel that way anymore.
A lot of people feel that a lot of people feel like the death penalty is the easy way out as well. They like, nah, you wanted to sit here and you wanted to kill this child, or you wanted to kill whoever you killed. Nah, go ahead and sit here in prison and suffer for the next 25, 40 years of your life about the
And I know
decision
it
that you
costs
made.
money. Yeah, and it does. It costs money to the taxpayers and everything. But at the same time, it's a bit more of a suffering life to have to sit in prison for 20, 30, 40 years than it is to be executed in 3. Because per the Bible, death is just sleep, So, I mean, you could look at it like that. But I just think the risk of executing an innocent, and I'll tell you, there's been a lot of men railroaded in the state, especially if you go to counties that are more rural, like a Lamar County or Red River County, some of those types of counties that we're not talking Dallas County, or Collin County's kind of rough too, but more in those rural areas. I've seen Black men given 60. I've seen one of my classmates given a 99-year sentence for hitting a man with a vacuum cleaner under the aggravated assault, charge or whatever. There's been a lot of men railroaded in this state, especially in rural counties. And you have to think about how many were given the death penalty that were also railroaded. So that also is something else that kind of toils my mind.
Did he get that sentence? Did he get that sentence reversed on appeal by any chance?
Which person?
The vacuum 99 years?
No. He is still in prison to this day.
Wow.
He went in when he was 17 years old. I am 43. I was 17, 18 at the time as well. He had a brother and a cousin that also got in trouble. But the crazy thing about it is the people that seem like they're willing to snitch,
right?
They always seem to get those short sentences. And one of the people that was involved in the altercation with him has been in and out of prison 3 times since all of that happened. And from what I understand, he's a model prisoner in his current prison.
A model prisoner?
He is a model prisoner. Like, he doesn't get in trouble. All of that. I mean, he's just, he's not a troublemaker type of you know,
So he
what
want to
they
wait
call
till
model prisoner.
he want to wait till he get to prison to be a model person. That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
backwards. I just want him to know
yeah,
that's backwards. You know, you're supposed to do that before you get
yeah,
to prison, so you ain't got to be
yeah.
in there.
Right, right. But you know, sometimes, you know, some men and people just make mistakes. And you know, when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, you know, you can tend to make some pretty crazy mistakes. I've got children that have went through these ages, and mistakes happen. And I don't know if all mistakes necessarily need to hold a life sentence, because we all need to learn from our mistakes. So, you know, it's hard, man. This life is hard sometimes, isn't it? It
Well,
really is.
well,
Difficult.
especially with the way the dynamic is now. Like even especially
Yeah.
with social media, when you saying, you know, people need to be allowed to make mistakes, but it's like you ain't allowed to make mistakes because they'll mess around and find some stuff you did 20 years ago, and then
Oh my
they
God.
got
Yes.
this whole cancel culture going on now. And
Yes.
they like, hey, this happened 20, he said this or she said this 20 years ago. Like, okay, like,
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I think that the cancel culture has went too far, in my opinion. That the cancel culture, I mean, it takes one thing, one single thing, one scandal, and it's like cancel that person out for good. And then before long you see, you know, 100 bloggers talking, you know, something negative, and these things can have real life effects on these people. People think celebrities, you know, are like in the sky hovering or something. They're just normal everyday people like me and you. Some of them have more money than us, and some of them don't.
yeah, some of them
They
faking
just
it.
have fame, you know. So yeah, it's it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, so pretty much pretty much Darriynn ain't got a chance down there in Texas
No,
at all.
no, Darriynn,
He has no,
Darriynn,
it's over.
yeah. You know what really got him? That nanny cam footage. That
Mm,
got him. Like, even if they didn't have the nanny cam footage and they had the footage showing him like peeking
mhm.
through the gates and opening up the doors, they never really could have been able to like pin that on him as far as like having something to do with Cash's death. But that nanny cam uh did it. And I don't know who, like one thing I trip out on is who thought to put a nanny cam in, and the room is a complete dump. Like, thank God, you know, somebody thought to put the nanny cam in.
Right.
I don't know what made them do it. I don't know who made that decision. But I am very grateful that they did. And if you look at that footage, you'll notice that that night, Carter, Cash's brother, was a bit restless. So
Mhm.
I kind of wonder if maybe something happened before, because remember the first part of the footage, we see him up walking,
Right.
and then he crawls back into bed. And it's like, you know, he kept kind of wrestling, moving around, and he was really, really restless. And I just wonder, you know, sometimes about that, if maybe God was like tapping him on the shoulder, you know, I don't know. I don't know. But, or if maybe Darriynn came in the house prior to that and woke him up and then got spooked and then came back. I mean, we don't know,
Right.
but all the
Also,
details, but
just all speculation at the moment.
right.
But even as I'm
Exactly. All speculation.
but even as I'm looking at my chat right now, it's really 50-50 on these. Like, nah, I don't believe he did this by himself.
Yeah.
And then you got people saying, nah, that was absolutely him. Y'all need to
Yeah.
accept the fact that he did it. He did it by himself
Hmm.
because he's nuts, you
Yep.
know, and
I
every
mean, think
crime in a
about having
situation.
to enlist someone. It's like me, you know, you do crime news, of course, you know, and I'm so glad I came upon your channel. And I've done like crime blogging for well over a decade now. And
Right.
you know, I've never seen someone like, now I've seen some crazy stories. You know, I've talked about some crazy stories, but we're talking about someone else having to be solicited to murder and brutally kill a child with a stabbing weapon. It's like, why would anyone help him? And then you notice he comes back that morning and it looks like he's got on different clothes. Like
Right.
maybe he was too bloody from the other set, but we'll see what happens. I think more will come out. There's lots of footage and lots of video cameras around. If anybody else was involved, I hope that we'll see footage of him carrying Cash down the street or something that will more solidify it.
Somebody had to catch him on their camera. If all these people got doorbell cameras, he has to be on somebody doorbell camera carrying, if he was carrying them, or if he put him in the car, because there's also speculation if they transported him in the car and then dumped him out to make it look a certain way. We don't know, but he has to be.
You're right. Everyone has Ring. Like there's got to be something showing him, and maybe I implore anyone, watching this, check, if you live in that area, check your cameras, go all the way back. And if you see anything, call the police, let them know. But, and we didn't see a second person peeking through those gates. We didn't see a second person, trying to open those car doors. We didn't see a second person in that room. Not that we would necessarily expect that.
Right.
But like up to 10 weeks prior, we'd never seen a second person. So I think, it'll be, it's good that people debate in this manner. And, we will see what it will be. I really hope that Darriynn will talk, but there's something different about Darriynn. I know they're not charging him with murder because they're waiting on forensics, and I know why they're waiting on forensics, because they want to know if he was assaulted in any way. But I sure am curious about how those interrogation interviews are going right now.
Me too. Like,
he seems just off.
Is he still is he proclaiming his innocence?
I haven't heard that at all. I have heard nothing, zero zilch from Dallas Police Department on anything regarding an interview, an interrogation, like nothing. When I tell you the lips are tight, are sealed so tight right now by DPD, it's not funny. They are not saying a word.
I got somebody very close to that, situation. Actually, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna try to ask him tonight and be like, so do he plan on moving forward, innocent, or is he gonna plead guilty?
Because he's gonna have to plead soon, right? Either guilty or not guilty or something, but he'll do that once he gets arraigned on those charges. But one thing too to think about is if there is a mental health issue in play here, the police are doing the right thing by not saying anything, because we all know that is a card that many lawyers play to get death penalty off the table.
Like he's not competent. Yeah.
So, they're not going to want to talk too much, because they're not even going to want his lawyer to know what they're thinking.
Hold on 1 second. Grandma Ducky said, Madness, what are your thoughts that he possibly did this for revenge? Monica told him 2 days earlier that he was creeping out the kids and was never welcome there again.
Now that's what she said, though, right?
That's what.
I don't know if I believe her when she says that, because what was it? At first she didn't know him, and then her son knew him, and then he came over to the house once, and then all of a sudden
he's there every day.
Warning him.
Right.
What are you warning him for? Obviously, if you're warning him, you felt he was a danger. So she still didn't act responsible if that's the case. So I don't know if I believe her about that. I think she's embellishing a little bit. And I implore her to step all the way back. Don't elicit no more GoFundMes. Step back, go move on with your life. And you should be really glad you're not being charged with like negligence or something like that. Seriously, because Texas does not play. We mean it. That sign, don't mess with Texas.
Right.
That's real.
Especially when it comes to the law.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I was doing a video and talking about this, and then, I got to cooking some food, and I seen you were live, and I seen that it was, a call in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to try to call in and talk to him about this, because we're both covering the case. And I was just so curious of your thoughts
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah. And I be wanting people like, I be like I say, I be doing these lives for like y'all a lot of time. Like when it's a call-in show like this, I'll be wanting y'all to call in. Now, people lately has been very shy, but it's starting to pick up. Y'all starting to call in more and more, which is making me happy because I want to know what y'all thinking out there.
Absolutely.
Like y'all be saying a lot in the chat be booming. And I'm like, come on over here so we can talk and have a dialogue, see what we thinking.
Yeah. Well, people are shy too. Sometimes they don't want to put their faces on camera. There's a lot of doxing going on YouTube, a lot of, just crazy stuff. And people are just shy. I have to do the same thing. I ended up on my StreamYard, I disabled audio avatar. So when you come up, you won't even see your avatar. You'll just be heard.
Right.
And that seemed to make my people a little bit more comfortable. And I ended up with 5 people up on my panel today. So that was good. We had a really good conversation about this whole case, and especially whether or not Trevor should be allowed to go to his son's funeral. And I absolutely believe he should. I hope that Melinda will not make a mistake. You can be very angry right now and could make a mistake that you will really, really regret. And it's just not your call. They could do a number of things. They could let the father's family come in, then the mother's family come in separately. There's a bunch of ways to do this, but don't deny him access to see his son out of anger.
Right.
It's just not right. Because ultimately he's not the one that he's irresponsible, but he didn't kill him.
Right. He didn't kill his son. I mean, he left him there, but he ain't the one who, dumped him in the middle of the road and everything like that. So
that's right. And she has responsibility in it too. Her actions and her choices also led to what's going on. I'm not saying that everything she did was wrong and we don't know all the details, but still her son was in this woman's house, and some actions had to have led to that. And I don't know what the situation is with her too much, but that is just would be devastating. And I know she wants to hurt him. She wants to hurt his heart because she feels pain, and she wants him to feel as much pain as she's feeling right now because her son is dead. And I completely understand.
I think they're gonna try to jump him or something if they see him at the funeral. Like they gonna try to put hands and feet on him.
Oh my God, hands, feet. They're gonna freaking body slam him. Everything.
Now, why is it that if you know this answer, he had the boys, right? But then Melinda had the other kids, right?
I don't think she has any other kids. I think the twins are it. I think Monica's the one that has 4 kids.
Okay.
And then the 2 twins from Trevor. But here's the thing. Think about it. A man comes in February, brings his twin sons. He leaves you in March. I am convinced, but I'm only 99% convinced, but I believe Monica may have been getting some sort of TANF benefits for having the twins there, meaning food stamps.
And that's why she didn't say nothing, because she was still getting their money. And
what woman's going to take on 2 twin boys that are 4 years old during COVID? And she's already got 4 kids of her own.
And a drug problem.
Who does that? Yeah, and a drug problem. And it's we know they sell, people sell food stamps all the time. It doesn't matter that it's on card, but who's going to do that and not benefit from it somehow?
Yeah, I agree.
It just, and especially being on meth and stuff, or being on any sort of drugs, why would she just take on 2 kids just for the heck of it if she's not benefiting? I believe that she was most likely getting some sort of state benefits for those 2 children.
I know people who done had their parent or grandparent they had living with them die and didn't report it. so they can keep
Yes.
getting the money.
Yep.
So
Happens a lot.
that's a very good point that you brought up there. Like, yeah, that would make sense for why because they like, well, why wouldn't she say anything? Well, she's still getting that
Getting
money.
paid. Yeah. I mean, we're talking 6 kids, okay, in Texas. We're talking about easy over $1,000 a month just in food stamps alone. With 3 kids on food stamps, you would get $500-600 a month. For 6, she would have been clearing well over $1,000 just on food stamps. Period. I mean, Texas is very generous
and probably
when it
selling
comes to
them.
food stamps.
You know how you sell your food stamps.
Oh yes. Are you kidding me? Here's the TANF card. It's like I'll give you $500 worth of food stamps for $250 worth of cash, and then maybe I can buy my meth.
That's exactly how the game works.
You know what I mean?
You know how the game works with them stamps.
Yep.
Come on, let's go to the store together. What you need?
Yeah, exactly. Or if you trust them long enough, you just give them the card. Because they're going to bring it back because they're going to be coming back each month. I mean, are you kidding? To be able to get $500 in groceries for only $250, I'd take that deal. I'd be lying if I was to say I wouldn't.
Every time,
take a deal like that.
Every time,
that's double. I'm doubling the amount of food I can put in my household that way. But that means that the children in the house aren't getting. I would have loved it if Daily Mail would have opened her refrigerator and her cabinets. That would have been nice to see how much food she had in the house.
It was probably full.
It was filthy. I know that.
Yeah, it was filthy, but full.
I mean, oh my gosh. Yes. It did seem like a hoarder. And I would not be surprised if the son is watching you right now, Cameron.
Oh,
honestly, well, I would not be surprised.
Well, I would love if he came on here and talked, because I definitely got some questions I'd like to ask him.
Oh yeah, I think I would not be. So my understanding is at one point there was someone blogging and they were live, on YouTube, and Cameron was definitely watching them because they were driving by his house and he like stepped out at that very moment. So I mean, this is such a huge case, and it's not typical in murder cases like this where you will see people live 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row or 6 days after it happened. This is a big case. I guarantee you they're searching their names, as they're searching their hashtags, and there's no question that they're watching you, they're watching me, they're watching Molly Golightly, they're watching Crimes and Investigations channel. No question about that.
All right. LeakYou, I would like to thank you for taking the time.
Oh, thank you for letting me on. It's been a pleasure talking with you. You should come by sometime.
I definitely will.
Visit me on the channel.
I definitely will try to come catch one of your lives as well,
Definitely. I appreciate it. And hey, it's really been a pleasure speaking with you. I always enjoy talking with, people that of a like mindset. So I'm going to drop on off of here, get some rest for tomorrow. So, hey, have a good rest of your show.
You too. Thank you. Be safe.
All right. Okay? Take care now. Madness. Bye now.
All right, guys. So that is the one-on-one, or I should say, interview that I had with Madness. Hold on just a second. Let me fix this here. Sorry about that. Let me put my overlay on here. Okay, there we go. That was the interview I had with Madness from Stop the Madness Crime News. He has been covering this case, and it appears he is another crimes and justice blogger, and we absolutely love our crimes and justice bloggers. You guys, know my story. I've been blogging specifically crimes and justice for a really long time, and well over a decade. And it's really nice to meet others that are like-minded. A shout out to Madness. A shout out to Molly Golightly as well. She I really want to encourage her. She is really good at, how she gets really detailed, and she's very outgoing. And I just would like to give a shout out to her as well, and just try to encourage her to, just keep doing what you do. And, uh, your coverage of this case is definitely appreciated. I think a lot is getting out to a lot of people. People are finding out things that we don't necessarily hear in the news, and we're going to continue to monitor this case as it continues forward. There is, as time goes on, as I interact and I find more crimes and justice bloggers out here in the blogosphere, I'm sure there will be more collabs and discussions on not only this case but others. So for right now, guys, I'm going to end this particular live, but at 9 o'clock in 1 hour and 3 minutes from now, we are going to have another live where we are going to be discussing the latest on this case. And so I hope to see all of you there. The live has already been scheduled. And I also wanted to thank all of you for all the new subscriptions. You guys have been subbing like crazy, and I really appreciate that. We are almost at 1,000, believe it or not. We are at over like 930. We're at like 931 on the Crimes and Investigations channel. And that's amazing, because just a couple weeks ago we were at 400 and 500. So definitely keep subbing. The reason why it's so important to get to 1,000 subs on the Crimes and Investigations channel is I will then have a community board where I can share cases, share videos, that sort of thing, and it gives me another avenue to get information out to you all. Now, the Crimes and Investigations channel is used only for crime cases. There is a lot of, different scandals attached to LeakYou, and that's fine and dandy. Bad press never hurt anybody, really, at the end of the day. But or good press for that matter. But we all have got haters, and I've done a lot of beef sector videos. If you're not familiar with the beef sector, I'm not even going to try to explain it. And I'm really trying to like back out of that and just like focus on my content. This is the same content that I've been giving out for years, and regardless or not, it's just time to change things up, right? And ever since I started changing things up, my subscriber count has been growing on all of my channels. Even my backup channel is over 300 at this point, as far as subscribers are concerned. So sometimes, when people flag your channels falsely, you are made to have to build your house in other places. And it's kind of almost a stupid thing to false flag people, because all people are going to do is just go build somewhere else. And amazingly, I have been able to do that, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. So I'm going to keep it a stack, and I'm taking all of my I could call them friends advice. You know who you are, the ones that have encouraged me, the ones that have said, hey, do your crimes and investigations. You don't need to go back and forth with any of these losers out here. They're just, clout chasers at the end of the day. And I just want to say thanks for sticking there through, with me. And I hope you're enjoying the content that you are getting. And I'm looking forward to what the future holds. Now, don't forget, I do have a website. You can go to LeakYou.com or crimesandinvestigations.com. I'm also, I have merch as well. I am finishing up on my merch in regards to adding all my different items, and I'm almost done. And I will, have that information out shortly, and it'll be placed in the description of all of my videos. And the other really good thing, too, that I want to update you guys on is the Patreon is pretty much completed at this point. I am just now working on getting videos up there and, getting things organized. But I plan to be opening up the Patreon gates here soon. And the other thing is the official group, the official LeakYou group, that many of us go into and talk and have conversations. It is a Facebook group. It is a private group. I'm going to start opening up, requests where you will be able to request to be in this group. And you will be vetted prior to. So we want just real people in this group. We don't want any haters in this group. And we know that there are people that will try to slip in unbeknownst. So you will be vetted. In order to be a member of that group. So lots of good things happening, guys. Lots of good things happening. And it feels really, really good to be doing. I just love crimes and justice. I absolutely love covering some of these stories, and it's amazing how many people I reach. And never, to those of you that are coming up trying to become content creators, I see a lot of you that sometimes I don't know if I should be offended or if I should be like flattered that sometimes I do see people that kind of like copy. And we had a live about that the other day about like streaming to multiple channels and how people were like doing that. But you know what? I'm flattered. I'm not offended by it. I think it's really cool because it kind of tells me like the influence that I'm having out here, which means that I have to be more responsible, right? I have to be more responsible in what I talk about, what I discuss. And that's just what it is. So just y'all keep it trill. Much love to all of you. And I will see y'all in about 1 hour to talk about the latest details on this Cash Gernon case. Thanks again to Madness from Stop the Madness Crime News for, there we go. Yes, that is Madness's channel right there. You guys definitely sub. I did put his link to his channel and to the original video in the description of this video. And I stream to 8 platforms currently. So we are streaming to Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook. So this will be distributed out to multiple platforms. Also, I did a pretty cool thumbnail as well. But you guys definitely go check his channel out. Sub to him. Thanks to all who joined. Centel, I love you. It's good to see you, babe. And y'all, I'm up out of here. I'll see y'all in about an hour.